I have played every single entry in the Life is Strange series. I finished Life is Strange Reunion a few days ago, and I'm still unsure how I fully feel. The sadness of knowing this is the end of the Max Caulfield story, the satisfaction I had playing a game that contained Chloe in it, something I never thought would happen again after I chose the Save Arcadia Bay ending and sacrificed her many years ago, and also the dissatisfaction of feeling like Reunion was really not a great sequel to Double Exposure. It's weird. Overall, I actually really loved the game. It was one of my favorite Life is Strange experiences since the original blew me away back in 2015. In this video, I am going to try my best to lay out all my thoughts and feelings on Life is Strange Reunion. There will be massive spoilers from this point on, so please, if you are avoiding spoilers, put this in your watch later and click off now. Thank you, and let's get into it. I'm going to try and break this into 4 categories: my choices, the good, the underwhelming, and my final thoughts. If you want to just skip to the reviewy part of this video, the timestamps will be down below. As I said in the intro, my big decision at the end of the original Life is Strange was to sacrifice Chloe. I don't think I have ever gotten more emotional during a video game experience than that final chapter of the original Life is Strange. So this review is coming from the perspective of someone who sacrificed Chloe and has always believed that to be the canon ending to the original, even though, yes, I acknowledge there is no true canon ending. Don't come after me, Bay over Bay fans. I respect that decision wholeheartedly. Now let's move on to Reunion, and boy oh boy did I screw this game up. I mean, I guess it could have been worse, but a lot of people died. We know that a big fire is going to start at Caledon thanks to the first section of the game, and Max needs to stop it, otherwise lives will be lost. There are multiple arson suspects throughout the story of Reunion. You have to solve one mystery playing as Chloe and another mystery playing as Max. Well, let's just say I got both of those incorrect. Listen, I am not embarrassed to admit when I F up playing a game. Thank God for the world's sake I'm not a detective. I thought Luke was going to be the fire starter in the Chloe plotline and Owen in the Max plotline. I didn't really feel super confident about either of these picks, but yeah, I guess I'm just a lousy detective because the two actual arsonists, Ren and Vin, I genuinely did not suspect at any point during my playthrough. The Vin one especially caught me completely off guard. The pain did not end there because I failed to save the lives of Owen, Noelle, and Jeanette. The Jeanette one broke my heart. She is literally the nicest character in the game, and when I saw her vigil at the end of the game, I legit facepalmed and couldn't believe it. I was so upset I couldn't save her, and also confused as to how she even died. But the most notable character that could die was Safi, one of the main characters from Double Exposure. I was able to save her thanks to Chloe's charm and relatability in what ended up being one of my favorite scenes from the game. I also saved Loretta and this random poet guy that I don't really care about. Because I failed to save everyone, the choice at the end of the game held extreme weight for me. Give Max the photo from before the fire and risk her choosing to go back in time, screwing up reality even more, and potentially killing Chloe, or destroy the photo. After everything this franchise has put me through, and everything we have put Max through, I made the painful decision to destroy the photo as Chloe. Yes, it means students and faculty died, but it wasn't a sure thing we would have been able to save them anyway. I just felt those two deserved to have a storybook happy ending, something I never thought possible with the Max Caulfield character. And maybe that fairy tale ending leads to some criticisms with the entire story of Reunion. Does this diminish the impact of the original game, especially if you are like me and had Chloe die in your game? Well, I'm not sure. With my choices out of the way, let's get to the actual review. I actually want to touch on the music of this game before I get into some other things I really loved about it. The music, more specifically Embers in the Sky, which is the main song, and the instrumental version main menu theme, is a song that I have binge listened to for the last 4 days on constant repeat. The melody, which I can only describe as somber, melancholy, but also like hopeful. The lyrics, which are really, really touching and sum up the Max and Chloe story so perfectly and beautifully well. The song has instantly become one of my favorites from the Life is Strange franchise. I also love that Spanish Sahara. The song that plays at the end of the original Life is Strange came back in this game, which was a beautiful, beautiful touch when Chloe and Max have their reunion scene. I thought that was a beautiful decision, and the music in this game was really, really good. And of course, moving on to Max and Chloe, I thought both of these characters were very in character. I didn't really love how Chloe was dismissed the way that she was in Double Exposure, and I think that was a big criticism that the Double Exposure writers received. It caused so much backlash that the original writer of Life is Strange came out and even criticized some of the writing decisions, so it was just a little bit of a mess. And like Max's story is so closely tied to Chloe, it's tough to diminish her in the way that I think Double Exposure did. And again, this is coming from someone who had her, pass away at the end of the original game, but I thought that criticism was understandably so. And does Reunion here feel a bit fanficky? It absolutely does. It really does feel like Max and Chloe's story in this game was because of the backlash that Double Exposure received, and this was kind of like the Deck 9 team throwing out a Hail Mary in order to try to get on the good side of the people that were really, really upset with what happened with the Max and Chloe stuff in Double Exposure. Now, that being said, I really don't mind this twist at all. Given what happened in Double Exposure with the two timelines and the timelines merging, I never felt like it was cheap for Chloe to be back alive, even though she died in the original game in my playthrough. I don't feel like that was a reach or bad writing, and I don't really have a problem with it. Again, does it feel like a fan fiction at times? Absolutely. But I do also feel like the decision to bring Chloe in and have Chloe be such a central part of this game was a better route than whatever the original Double Exposure sequel storyline was going to be. And we know that there was going to be a different storyline, because what happens at the end of Double Exposure is not even touched on at all in Reunion, which I'll get to a little later on. But I thought the characters of Max and Chloe and the tension between them was very, very well done. I loved the overall mystery, specifically the mystery pertaining to the Max flashbacks that Sophie and Chloe had to continuously deal with. I love the creepiness that you get at times. One moment that stands out to me was Max at the party scene where she got drugged or had some sort of spiked fruit punch, and the mirror reflection of herself is criticizing her and texting her. And this game at times did reinstill that creepy feeling that I feel all Life is Strange games reach at one point or another, when things can be really normal, you're at a party, and then the next moment things are getting really, really creepy, really unnerving. And I felt like the overall mystery going on with the flashback world between Sophie, and you would get texts from dead Sophie and alive Sophie playing as Chloe, figuring all of that out was really, really interesting, and I actually liked it quite a bit. Another scene that I really want to give praise to is the Chloe and Sophie scene. While I don't fully love how Sophie was handled in this game, I did love the scene that you have playing as Chloe in the final section of the game. Sophie is so consumed by grief and just anxiety and depression, and ultimately wants to take her own life. It reminded me a little bit of the Kate sequence from the original game, where you have to try to talk her down from ending her own life. It's basically the same exact thing in this moment, except I felt like I had a much stronger connection with Safi, given that she was a central character in Double Exposure. And so for how badly I wanted to save Kate, and successfully did, might I add, in the first game, I really, really wanted to save Safi. And I realized that Chloe was the perfect person to get Safi through this really low point that she was going through. If you think about it, Chloe and Safi are very similar. They have a very close relationship to Max. At this point in the game, there is a dead version of them. There is an alive version of them. Really, the only reason they are living is thanks to Max's powers, and that comes with all sorts of, I'm sure, guilt and anxiety and confusion and terror. And both of them lost a dear close friend early on in their life before Max even got involved. Safi with Maya and Chloe with Rachel. And so that relatability and me realizing it in the moment really made that scene super impactful for me. I thought that was one of the better and stronger scenes of the game. And I was able to save Safi, which of course I was very happy about. But yeah, I felt like Reunion did a good job of what is kind of a staple of Life is Strange games. These really intense topics, these really intense moments, and you as the player having to navigate through those moments. I didn't really feel like that was super present in Double Exposure, but I felt like there were a lot of those moments in Reunion, including this scene. And then another thing that I really did like is the happy ending. I know a lot of people maybe will have issues with it, but after everything Max Caulfield has gone through in her life, the fact that you have the opportunity to give her a happy ending with her lifelong best friend or romantic interest, whatever you decide there. I went the romantic interest route personally. The fact that you have that opportunity, I think, is really, really nice. And I know some people will feel like it's not realistic. Does it diminish the impact of the first game? I don't know. I can see the arguments for both ways, but I'm just happy that Max has, even if it is for a limited time to spend with Chloe, new memories to be made. This girl has been through so much. She has saved so many lives. She has done everything that she possibly could correctly with her powers, at least in her mind, playing as her. And the fact that it's rewarded by giving her the opportunity to have a happy ending, I think is a good thing and something I was very happy with. But now we are getting to the underwhelming. I don't want to say the bad because I don't like to be too negative, but I will say the underwhelming. And I've got to start with saying Reunion, I don't feel is a very good sequel to Double Exposure, which of course it is a direct sequel to Double Exposure. One of the big endings, the big cliffhanger ending, is with a character named Diamond, a character that was present in Double Exposure that Safi essentially recruits at the end of Double Exposure in order to try to find other people with powers. We know Diamond has powers, and clearly if a game ends with that sort of cliffhanger, you would expect that character to be an important part of the sequel, right? Well, that's not the case here with Reunion. I realized about 60% through the game that Diamond had only been mentioned like one singular time, and it was in, I think, like a text message chain. And I was like, Diamond is going to somehow play a role here. Maybe she's the arsonist. Like, there's going to be some twist with her character. And then I just was waiting for her to show up. Waiting. And she never does. She's barely mentioned in this game. I've already seen some theories that she's going to be the next protagonist in whatever the new Life is Strange game may be, if we even get a new Life is Strange game. And maybe that'll be the case, but I don't think it really hides the fact that her absence in this game is the biggest indicator that the direction the writing team went in Reunion was a complete 180, or at least a 90-degree turn from what the original plans were, because there is no way that a character so important in a cliffhanger scene was not going to be involved in the very next game. I mean, even if she was not going to be in this game, which I feel like is a misstep, I would have at least liked a little bit more about her and a little bit more about Safi's journey and kind of what she did in the year between Reunion and Double Exposure. And that kind of brings me to another point I have in this kind of bad category. I felt like a lot of the characters from Double Exposure were sidelined, Safi being one, and she was probably like one of the more interesting characters to me in Reunion because I actually liked her in Double Exposure, and I felt like every time I was playing as Max, I was just waiting and waiting and waiting for Safi to show up. And some of my favorite scenes in Reunion all have to do with Safi. When she grabs Chloe for the first time at the Turtle Bar, whatever the name is, I can't remember the name, and they have that weird scene when she's hiding as that student and Max realizes it's her. I just wanted to talk to her. I wanted to know more about her and what she's been going through. And I feel like when she was on screen, it was probably some of the best and highest points of the game, but she just wasn't on screen enough, and there was a lot left to be desired there. And another character that I really liked from Double Exposure was Amanda. Now, I did choose to romance Amanda in Double Exposure, and I liked the dynamic that Amanda and Chloe had. Feel like the two of them would be really, really good friends, and funny enough, they both, depending on, I guess, choices, have had romantic, interests with Max. But as someone that dated Amanda in Double Exposure, it felt really weird that they broke up and they didn't really talk about the breakup, Amanda and Max. I know they talked about it briefly, but I just would have liked to see a little bit more from Amanda, a little bit more there. Vin is another character. His twist was completely shocking to me. I was really, really surprised by it. Felt like he was kind of sidelined as well. Loretta I liked. I feel like Loretta was probably the character that had the most and healthiest, I would say, exposure here in Reunion, not to get into pun territory. But yeah, it felt like a lot of the characters from Double Exposure were kind of sidelined for the Chloe and Max stuff. And I feel like this game was a little on the short side. I want to say I beat this game in like 8 or 9 hours, and I feel like a Life is Strange game usually takes about 11 to 12 hours. Now, I could be wrong about that, but it did feel like this game was a little short, and maybe that's why the characters from Double Exposure felt more sidelined. I feel like this game would have benefited a lot more from just maybe a couple of hours of dialogue chains or extra scenes. There weren't many like new areas and assets from Double Exposure because obviously the game takes place in the same sort of realm, and outside of like the Abraxas house, I feel like there weren't really many new areas to explore besides like the final stretch of the game. So that would have been something that I would have liked a little bit more. Even playing more as Chloe. I love that you could play as Chloe, but playing a little more as her, I think would have been a really, really welcomed addition to the game. And again, I just think adding a couple of hours on an 8 or 9 hour story would make a really big difference. Another thing I want to touch on real quick, I don't know if anybody else experienced this. The facial expressions were kind of like janky and weird at times. I didn't really feel that way with Double Exposure. I also didn't feel that way with like True Colors, which was the other game in this franchise that Deck 9 made. So I don't really know what the deal with that was. Again, can you chalk up the length? Can you chalk up the facial expressions feeling weird at times to the fact that the team made a massive writing shift, focusing more on Max and Chloe instead of whatever the original plans were for the Double Exposure sequel, which may have been Safi gathering like the Avengers of Life is Strange powers? I think you probably could chalk up a lot of that stuff to that decision, but ultimately I was content with the direction they went in, even though Reunion does not feel like a great sequel to Double Exposure. My final thoughts, I've got to be honest, I really loved Life is Strange Reunion. It's weird because I'm fully aware that the game had issues, and I don't know if bringing Max ultimately back was the right choice. But I have to be honest, at the end of the day, I really was touched by the story told in Reunion. I was so happy to be able to play as Max one last time, and I was so happy to be able to play as Chloe as well, and get an answer to an impossible question of what would happen if the two of them actually had a reunion 10 years later. And thanks to Max's powers and maybe overlooking some, plot holes in the overall story, that is possible in Life is Strange Reunion. The game, I believe, is $40 right now, and if you are a fan of Life is Strange, even if you didn't like Double Exposure or didn't play Double Exposure, I would highly recommend giving Life is Strange Reunion a shot. It is one of my favorite games in the Life is Strange franchise, and I think the story that it tells encapsulates mystery, grief, and redemption in a really beautiful way. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so interested to hear your thoughts on Life is Strange Reunion. Please let me know how you feel about this game down below in the comments. I would love to do a video where I rank all of the Life is Strange games as I've played all of them. So maybe that video will come out in a couple of weeks if it's something you guys are interested in. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.